The Large Hadron Collider will reopen today after 3 years of being shut down for improvements. Scientists around the globe are hoping that the upgraded machine, which is massive, will be able to detect new particles.
A single neutrino, a chain reaction, and a lie thousands of years old. While the media was calling Cern's discovery the greatest moment in human history, global militaries were going to their highest alert levels. In a stunning report, Norad confirms that objects in our own asteroid belt are now maneuvering into strategic formations. The problem isn't that we woke them up, it's that our signal to 3i Atlas just told them humanity is now advanced enough to be considered a threat. Cern's terrifying confession. The air in the press room near Geneva, Switzerland was thick with a tension you could practically taste. You see, journalists from every major outlet were crammed shoulder to shoulder, summoned by an emergency alert that offered zero details. This wasn't a planned announcement for a new discovery. This felt different. This felt like an emergency. At the podium stood the Director General of Cern, a figure usually known for a calm and measured demeanor. But today, her face was pale, her hands visibly trembling as she gripped the lectern. The words that came next sent an immediate shockwave across the globe. Cern, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, home to the Large Hadron Collider, a 17-mile-long ring of superconducting magnets designed to smash protons together at nearly the speed of light, had been conducting a secret experiment. They had aimed a signal at 3i Atlas, an interstellar object currently passing through our solar system. The room erupted, but the Director General held up a hand silencing the reporters. The details she explained were still coming in, but what they knew was this. The signal sent was not just passively reflected. It was received, amplified, and returned with a coherent energy signature unlike anything ever recorded. What many overlooked in that first chaotic moment was her choice of words. She called it an unexpected energy cascade that had propagated throughout the solar system. The thing nobody tells you is that this wasn't just physicists speak. It was a carefully chosen phrase to downplay a terrifying reality. In the minutes following this cascade, observatories from the Atacama Desert in Chile to the dormant volcano of Mauna Kea in Hawaii began reporting anomalies. Thousands of them. These weren't fuzzy images or dubious readings. Professional and amateur astronomers alike were suddenly spotting new points of light where there were none before. Objects in the asteroid belt, once just tumbling rocks, were now emitting faint but distinct heat signatures. Farther out, in the Kuiper belt, past the orbit of Neptune, dormant objects began to move, making tiny, unnatural course corrections. The most shocking fact is their uniformity. These weren't random sizes or shapes. They were overwhelmingly consistent, appearing in structured geometric formations. To put it mildly, it was as if someone had flicked on the lights in our solar system, revealing that it was already full. Cern's press conference was meant to get ahead of the story, to frame it as a scientific breakthrough. But anyone reading between the lines could see the truth. This wasn't a discovery. It was an awakening, and they had no idea what they had just woken up. This colossal machine, capable of generating temperatures 100,000 times hotter than the core of the sun and recreating the conditions of the universe a microsecond after the Big Bang, had been used to poke something in the dark. And now that something was poking back. But what Cern didn't say is what that signal really was. The message in the void. To understand what really happened, we have to go back 6 months, to a secret, poorly funded division within Cern known internally only as Project Chimera. This wasn't about finding the Higgs boson or understanding dark matter. The goal of Project Chimera was far more ambitious and, to many, far more dangerous. They were searching for proof of extraterrestrial technology. The team believed that sending out broad radio signals, like the Arecibo message, was like shouting into a hurricane. Instead, they theorized that an advanced civilization wouldn't build massive beacons, but would use the galaxy's natural traffic as a communication network. They would send tiny, hyper-advanced relays disguised as comets or asteroids, letting them travel from one star system to the next over millions of years. And 3i Atlas was the perfect candidate. It was the third interstellar object ever detected, but it was behaving strangely. Like its famous predecessor, Oumuamua. It was moving with non-gravitational acceleration. It was pushing itself through space with no visible outgassing, no tail of melting ice. Its trajectory was, to put it simply, wrong. It was too precise, too clean. Project Chimera believed 3I Atlas wasn't a comet at all. It was one of these dormant relays. So they devised a plan. They would use the LHC's incredible power not to smash particles, but to generate a focused beam of something called neutrinos. These are ghost particles able to pass through planets and stars without stopping. A neutrino beam would be the perfect subtle key to try and unlock a piece of alien tech without announcing our presence to the whole galaxy. For weeks, they worked in secret, piggybacking on other experiments, drawing power from the grid in tiny, untraceable bursts. They aimed the neutrino beam at 3I Atlas when it was over 400 million miles away, a feat of targeting equivalent to hitting a single grain of sand from a mile away with a laser pointer. The first few attempts yielded nothing. Silence. The team began to lose hope, thinking their theory was a bust, and then on the final attempt it happened. The return signature wasn't energy or light, it was a neutrino echo, but it was structured. It was a data packet of unimaginable complexity. It wasn't a message for us. You see, what they'd found wasn't just a relay station, it was a cosmic switchboard. And by sending their signal, they hadn't just said hello. They had unwittingly picked up a ringing phone and connected the call. They thought it was a dead relay. They were wrong. They were always here. The data packet returned by 3I Atlas didn't just come back to the receivers at Cern, it broadcasted itself. It was a narrow, focused beam, but it wasn't aimed at Earth. It was a sweeping pulse that painted the entire inner and outer solar system in less than a day. It was a single silent command, awaken. And across the vast, cold darkness, the giants began to stir. What astronomers first dismissed as sensor glitches or atmospheric interference quickly became an undeniable, terrifying pattern. The initial discoveries were in the asteroid belt, a massive ring of over 1 million rocks between Mars and Jupiter. For centuries, we've mapped this region, believing it to be primordial debris left over from the formation of the solar system. The most shocking fact is we were only seeing what they wanted us to see. Suddenly, hundreds of these asteroids began to shed their rocky camouflage. Thermal imaging showed smooth, metallic surfaces underneath, absorbing and now faintly emitting heat. Spectrometers, which analyze light to determine chemical composition, stopped reading silicon and iron and started picking up alloys of unknown elements. These weren't rocks, they were ships, perfectly disguised and dormant for what could have been millennia. And you can see this everywhere, not just the asteroid belt. The Trojan asteroids, 2 clusters that lead and follow Jupiter in its orbit, reveal dozens more. Even more chilling were the discoveries in the Oort cloud, the theoretical sphere of icy bodies that surrounds our solar system, extending out nearly a light year into space. This region is so vast that the space between objects is millions of miles. It's the ultimate hiding place. From this darkness, objects began to power on. These were different. They were colossal, some estimated to be over 10 miles long, and they weren't trying to hide anymore. They unfurled what looked like massive solar sails to catch the faint light of our distant sun. All told, the initial count was over 5,000 distinct, non-human-made objects that had just revealed themselves. 5,000 silent sentinels that were here long before we ever looked to the stars. Many people are crazy about this revelation, trying to comprehend the scale of it. It's like discovering that every single decorative rock in your garden is actually a hibernating hornet. For all of human history, we have stared into the night sky and felt a sense of lonely wonder. Now we know the truth. We were never alone. We were just being watched. Now that they are awake, what are they going to do? Friend or foe? So what happens now? That's the question bouncing around every corner of the internet, echoing in the hushed halls of every government office on the planet. It's a question whispered in a dozen languages, screamed in panicked news reports, and contemplated in the silent prayers of billions. The thing is, there are no easy answers, only a cascade of possibilities, each more paradigm-shifting than the last. The knee-jerk reaction for many is, of course, primal fear. Are these warships? Is this the prelude to an invasion, a hostile takeover? It's a terrifyingly plausible scenario that can't be ignored. 5,000 technologically superior craft, each the size of a small city, could likely neutralize our planetary defenses in a matter of hours, if not minutes. Our most advanced fighter jets would be like paper airplanes against a hurricane. Our nuclear arsenal, a fistful of firecrackers against a tidal wave. Military analysts have run the simulations 1,000 times since the awakening, and every single one ends in the same stark conclusion: unconditional surrender or complete annihilation. Every government is on high alert, but it's a hollow gesture. We are ants on a picnic blanket, suddenly aware of the boot hanging in the air above us. But not all things are what they seem, and humanity, for all its flaws, is a stubbornly optimistic species. Other theories are flooding the channels too, theories born of hope and unbridled imagination. Could they be observers, cosmic scientists who have been studying us in a grand sociological experiment for millennia? Perhaps they've watched us invent the wheel, build pyramids, split the atom, and connect our world with invisible webs of data. Or maybe they are guardians, a silent fleet protecting our solar system from some external threat we can't even perceive, a cosmic antibody that has just been activated. What unseen predator stalks the darkness between stars, so formidable that it requires a fleet of 5,000 titans to keep it at bay? This idea is both comforting and deeply unsettling. It implies we are not masters of our own destiny, but children living in a walled garden, blissfully unaware of the wolves outside. Then there are the wilder theories, the ones debated in the deepest corners of the web and among speculative physicists who see our reality as just one possibility among infinite others. One growing hypothesis is that they are not invaders, but refugees. What if they are the last survivors of a dying universe fleeing a cataclysm on a scale we cannot comprehend? A supernova, a galactic war, or the heat death of their reality? They are cosmic castaways seeking a new harbor. This possibility is fraught with peril. A desperate civilization is a dangerous one. A more esoteric idea gaining traction is that they are not alien but ancestral, the ultimate prodigal sons. Are these the beings who seeded life on Earth billions of years ago, the gods described in our most ancient myths, returning now to see how their experiment has unfolded? If so, they are not here to conquer us, but to judge us. Many people are asking, did this all just happen overnight? The awakening was sudden, yes, but the presence was ancient. We are like a reclusive tribe living deep in a jungle that has just stumbled upon a network of superhighways. The highways were always there, we just never knew where to look. What many overlooked in Cern's initial report is that none of these objects have shown any hostile intent. There have been no transmissions, no weapons powered up, no rapid movements toward Earth. Their awakening has been slow, methodical, almost patient. It's as if they've woken from a long slumber and are slowly stretching, taking in their surroundings before making a move. Their hulls, made of a material that absorbs all light and energy, defy our physics. They are perfect black bodies, voids in space that our telescopes can't resolve, only outline. They are absences that have an overwhelming presence. The most profound shift, however, isn't happening in the cold vacuum of space. It's happening right here on Earth. The core beliefs of our civilization, our religions, our science, our sense of identity are all facing an existential crisis. Old national rivalries are suddenly, laughably petty. Borders are becoming meaningless. For the first time, we are not Americans, Russians, or Chinese. We are simply humans. But this fragile unity is threatened by the very thing that created it. Are we missing a key detail? Perhaps the biggest question isn't what they want from us, but what the signal from 3i Atlas told them about us. Did our neutrino key tell them that we had finally reached a certain level of technological maturity, like a child who has finally learned to speak? That we were finally ready to join a larger cosmic community? Or did it signal that we had become a potential threat, a reckless species playing with forces like the Large Hadron Collider that we don't fully understand? Perhaps our message wasn't a greeting, but a scream. The great silence from the stars has been broken. We knocked on a door we didn't even know was there, and now 5,000 beings are looking back at us, their intentions as dark and unreadable as the ships they command. Our childhood as a species is over. Our next chapter has begun, whether we are ready for it or not. They were watching us all along, waiting for us to finally look up. Is this the end of human history or the true beginning? Let us know your thoughts below and hit subscribe for more updates.